Hello, Year 10 and 12 parents. My name is Mr. Holmes. I'm the careers lead at Council Academy. We've just introduced the work experience programme to the Year 10 and the Year 12 students in an assembly. I wanted to take this opportunity to share that presentation with you and elaborate on some of the points which you may have. Before we start, I'll just bring up the email addresses of myself, the careers lead at the college, C. Holmes, at clcc.college, and the careers assistant, Miss L. Keeling, at clcc.college. Any questions that you have after watching this presentation, or you have generally about work experience or careers, feel free to email me. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So with the presentation, we start off by just showing them what the whole point of school is, really. I often think that school is here and makes students come to school to make them employable as they can, and so that they can get the job that they like and they deserve. They spend at GCSE at year 11, they'll spend 11 years at school, and the most important thing they'll get is their qualifications. It basically gives them their academic attainment. The other things which we do here to help prepare them is we have an interview experience. So once they go through and they apply for a job, often jobs will have an interview, and to make sure that they've had practices of an interview is really important. And then we also do a lot of tutorials throughout all the year groups where we are talking about options available and different career paths, and that's been embedded into all the subjects as well. But in particular, we're going to talk about the work experience. A lot of you will already know that if you have employed people before, their experience of what they've done in that area is probably more important thing than qualifications on their applications. But as they get older, the experience people have certainly is. For a lot of students at our age, their qualification might come first, but then their experience afterwards will be. Then we talk about the benefits of work experience. We would like, if possible, obviously, some students to get experience in an area that they want to work in. Now, year 10s might not have much of an idea. Maybe you've spoken to them about that. But year 12s may have more of an idea about what they're going to do. Now, whether that be university courses or high-level degree apprentices, they'll probably have already specialised a little bit and have some idea about their interests and the areas of which they work in. The year 12 students might even have some work experience or a part-time job already. So when it comes around to them, I would really like them to start thinking about, how do I get a placement in something that would benefit me going forward? So if they are doing, let's say, a medicine degree, obviously any kind of work experience in the medical sector or even the caring environment would be beneficial. If they are working practically, or they want to work with, let's say, they want to go into F1 racing, then any kind of work experience with cars and engineering, that would be brilliant as well. So I would like to, if you are the parent of a year 12 child, to try and think about how we can tailor work experience around what their interests are and going forward. For year 10s, the same kind of applies, but I do know that year 10s probably will not have had any type of job. At most, they may have had a Saturday job, a little one, maybe a paper round, but the majority of them will have no experience of work at all. So this is their opportunity to get their first rung on the ladder. I would say for the year 10s, all work experience is good work experience. Whether they are, because working for a different boss, working with the public, working with different employees, different age groups, all of that is fantastic. And they will absolutely benefit from that in their applications for their post-GCSE options, and also going forward to whatever they want to do. On there, we've got other benefits of work experience. We've got sense of achievement. Placement students get better grades because they've had an experience of the work and they know what they want to get into. So I think we all know that work experience is a vital part of us as a school making them as employable as possible. When does work experience take place? Work experience always takes place in the second to last week of the summer term. Now, it says on there all year 10 students, but the year 12s will go at the same time as well. and they go on the week the 27th of June to the 1st of July 2022. Often when I mention those dates, I get that question, why are we being told about it now? And the answer, quite simply, is competition. Every single school and every single college has a duty to have a work experience program. And I do know that a lot of the colleges within the locality and in Leicester have chosen this week as well. So your child is not just competing for a work placement against their friends or against people in their class. They're not even competing against their year group. They're competing against everybody their own age to get a work placement. And especially post-COVID, the picture for employers and whether they're taking on students for work experience is a bit sketchy. So the sooner we can get students placed into placements, the better for everyone. And with that in mind, I'd like people to start thinking about going out and finding placements as soon as they can. So the process from what we will do in the careers department is we will be giving out this week the forms to students, and I'll go through the forms in a minute. When you secure a placement and you bring those forms back, we as a college, we have a duty of care to all of the students while it is in school time. So we will perform checks on each employer to check whether the work is suitable for them, to check whether the employer has in-date insurance documents, their public liability and their employer's liability insurance is up to date, to check that their conditions are safe. And by that, I mean all of the safe health and safety conditions, from fire procedures to general working procedures around there. And then we'll also do this year a COVID safe check to make sure that they have a policy for checking that the COVID procedures are taking place. Students in school will also do a health and safety lesson before they go, and then towards around about Easter, we'll start giving out the final agreement forms, which will have the employer on it for them to sign, you as the parents to sign, and then for the child to sign, which will detail all the jobs which have been set out for them, the times, the dates, the break times, all of those things will be on there. And once we have that back in, the placement is ready to go. So what to do next? Essentially, some of you and some of your children will have come back and already spoken to you about work placement and started looking for places. I would, like on the previous slide, I would suggest we start that sooner rather than later. And I do know that it's really nervous for students to actually go out and ask. But the way I kind of describe it to students is don't worry too much about it. You think about where you want to go and try for work placement. Go and approach them. Go in, say, hi, I was wondering if you could help me. I'm a student at Counterthorpe Academy and I'm really interested in working in this sector. And I was just wondering if you had any work experience going on. And then just let them answer that. I mean, the worst thing I say to students is that the worst thing they can do is say no. In which case you just go, well, thank you very much, and move on to the next one. I try not to worry about it too much. I do know that sometimes they think about maybe emailing lots of places or maybe ringing them up, which can be a good way to get them. Sometimes I find emails, companies find them easy to ignore because if they don't go direct to the right person, then it kind of gets lost and students can be waiting a while for a response which maybe they're not getting. The same with phoning. Phoning can be quite a good way of getting in, but sometimes I would encourage students to actually go in and speak to them face to face. You just seem to get better results that way. So we're going to give the students a selection of documents. One will be a letter to parents, which I've written, which will explain the process of work experience, a bit like this presentation is doing. There'll also be a covering letter for employers, which when you are going out discussing work experience, you can show the employers the letter, especially if they are willing to take you on. There's then the application form, which has the first section, which is all the student details. And then on the back side, on the reverse side of it, is a space where the employer, if they decide to have you, just to fill out their details so we can then start the ball rolling with all the checks that we need to do. Also inside of there is a poster, which I have up on the careers door, but I've also included it because we work with a company called the LEBC, the Leicestershire Education Business Company. And we work with them to help us process all these work experience forms and applications. And what we have is we have access to this database, which has all of the past placements which have happened at the college on there. So, I mean, we haven't done work experience for a couple of years now because of COVID. So some of the data on there might be out of date. I do know that. Some of these businesses are only just coming back. Furlough is only just finishing. And some of the details on there might be a little bit out of date, but it's still a great place for you to start looking for work experience. Also, do Google searches around the area. Have an experiment. There's quite a lot of places and workplaces, maybe around where you live, which you may not even know about. Some industry parks, things like that. And some of the businesses on there are very willing and keen to take students on placements, but it's just about discovering that they're there and then going in and asking. So that's there to help. It's certainly not 100% accurate, I know that, but it's certainly a good place to start, and you can search through categories. So we talk about, that's the presentation which we give to the students. We will say that for the year 10 students, this is completely free. I do know that other colleges are charging full whack for this, and I know of some which have contacted me saying, why is it free at your school while my child's school is charging 58 quid? That is the cost for doing all these checks, especially since that this year, the checks that we do on health and safety and insurance have a 3-year lifespan, and they've pretty much all expired. So it's going to be a big job this year to try and get through 200-300 students on placement. So for year 10, it's entirely free, and I would fully advertise that parents of year 10 take this opportunity. At year 12, because of their age, they can do slightly more complex jobs. And that takes a bit more work on our side. Now, that one does come with a slightly higher price, and therefore we are asking the students of year 12s to help us with the funding of that. It's only £15 contribution. If you're a bursary student, it's completely free. But all of the details are on the letter, which I would encourage you to have a look at. And then just contact me if you have any questions about that. The last thing I do on the presentation really isn't for you parents. It's just me in the theatre doing the talk, and I'm just showing where kids come and drop off their forms, and that's my careers office. The last thing I'll leave you with as a parent is our email addresses again. By all means, contact us with absolutely anything that you have, and we'll do our best to work our way through every single email so that we can answer all your questions and help you out to get all your students a placement that would be really useful for them going forward. Thank you for your time and listening to this. All the best. Thank you.